Good day, Minecraftians. Purple Mentat here, bringing you episode 9 of my Feed the Beast Pyramid Reborn playthrough. Today, I've got a couple of things I want to do, but first and foremost, I wanted to share with you what I'm going to be doing to make my EU generation from ethanol work at its best, using the sugarcane and wheat farms that we already set up. I've been looking at what I can do with masses of sugarcane, and honestly, I think that this is going to be my best option. I want to make sure I don't have any spawnable terrain. I do. Let's fix that real quick. Like that. And what we're going to be doing to make this work our best is we're going to be making some analog crafters from extra utilities. I'm going to use a flat transfer node on the side of that, plop an analog crafter down, and... ooh, that's not good. I didn't expect it to do that. I don't want you producing sugar. Spread items. Distribute input items evenly among existing stacks. Okay, so if I set it up like this, we will hopefully... yeah, now we're getting the plant balls from Industrial Craft 2 that I want. Down only, up north, south, west. I thought that I could set this up at least one item in each slot. That's what I need. I needed the sticky option. There. And now it will always keep at least one sugarcane in each slot, and it'll slowly make plant balls for Industrial Craft 2. And the reason I want plant balls is because the sugarcane can be used directly to make my biomass, but this is a very cheap and easy step for me to turn my sugarcane from 50 millibuckets per item into 450 millibuckets for 8 items. So basically, spread across 8, I gained 50, which is only like another an efficiency boost of less than 7 millibuckets per item, but it's enough, and it makes me happy. So we're going to take those plant balls, and I believe that I can very easily just pump them straight into my fermenter over here with any form of item transmit. I apologize for the blinging. I apparently forgot to shut that down. Let me fix that real quick. Notifications, muting those for the day. Ah, darn it. You try to make yourself accessible to your partner so that, you know, they can always get a hold of you, and then that happens. Yeah, that's working out pretty good. You know what? There's a downside to this, though. It's working out pretty good, but it's also working out pretty slow because we're using a flat transfer node. So here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to replace that with a servo because iterativeness. A servoed item duct. And I believe that there's a way to take that off of there without breaking the... I think I need the... extra utilities 2 wrench to interact with the flat transfer nodes. There we go. Yep, shift right click with the wrench, got it off. Fantastic. So I need item ducts, not fluid ducts. Be careful with this pouch. If you pick any items up onto your mouse while it's open, it seems to break and crash you. So I recommend very much not using the the big pouch from Tiny Progressions, but I really needed the extra inventory space, and it's what I've got right now, so I'm stuck with it for the time being. Alright, turn you off. Sticky spread like so, and there we go. Disable that. Yeah, that's moving much better. Producing plant balls at a much better rate. Okay, and now I should be able to do the same thing out the side here to there. And turn you on. There we go. Plant balls, poof. They are not going into the top of the... oh, there we go. Plant balls in the fermenter. Fantastic. Now all I need to do is do the same general idea with the wheat from the farmer. And the way I'm going to manage that... well, first of all, I need another analog crafter. But the way we're going to manage that is we're going to abuse the fact that our entire system, our overall inventory, is pretty much easily accessible to us no matter where we are because it's all networked by lasers. And this is why I need the extra inventory space, because otherwise I make a mess. So, we're going to put you here. We're going to set the, let's see, this is, I'm not even 100% certain what set, well, we're going to disable everything for the time being. We're going to set this to up only. Down, up, north, south, east, west, crud. I'm not sure which direction. I'm terrible with direction-based stuff in this game. Facing west. Alright, so the west face is the one that we want these. Disable, down. Well, actually, you don't even need to do all of that. You can really just have it accessible, these accessible from all sides, and make sure that you've got sticky turned on. Then we're going to put wheat in each of these, spread items evenly, and we're going to stick dirt in the center. And now this is going to be producing our compost for us. And I don't remember if I can feed that in the same side. I might need to specifically feed that in the bottom. But we're about to find out, aren't we? Turn you on. Compost, compost. Compost is getting dragged out. Compost is... Oop, did that just pop from 50 to 58? Yes, okay, compost is going in. Alright, so now we're filling it with compost and plant balls. Now we need to provide this with dirt. And the way we're going to manage that is basically the same as we've been doing. We're just going to toss an item interface on top of here. Give it access to our laser system, which I've networked into my new and improved tree farm. I didn't show this on camera because it's basically the same old approach that you've seen before, just with me hooking it into the greater laser network so that the items from the sludge refiner will get filtered into the storage bins automatically. And eventually this whole thing is going to jam up and be full on resources, and I'll only get more resources as I make use of them. Primarily, I think it's going to end up jamming up with the logs and leaves, because I've still got the leaf shearer on this one. I may eventually want a ton of leaves. I don't know. Plant balls. And let's see. We're going to toss an item duct on here, and we're going to whitelist dirt. Only dirt is allowed to be pulled out, and it should happily pull out plenty of dirt. Watch that. $16. Fantastic. Now, I think there was a way to stop the pipes from connecting. I believe if I do you, and then I smack aside, yep, that works. And now I can put another one in that whitelists wheat. And now we should see wheat start transferring in decent quantities. And this is all going to run fast enough, despite the fact that we're making use of just the basic servo. However, we do have what we need now to upgrade these servos. The basic servo will extract 8 items every 3 seconds, which for a single fermenter system, that's fine. It's enough. But if we want to have it run better than that, then we need to go grab some of our Invar. I love that, like, the nickel and the Constantin and the Invar are just filling up on their own. So happy. And we need to upgrade these servos by connecting them with an Invar ingot. You can also connect them with Electrum or Signalum or Indirium, but we don't have access to these just yet. Where is it? We need, to get Platinum or Silver to make either of those. And the upgraded servos, they do up to 16 items every 2 seconds. They also have slightly better fluid extraction, and it looks like they have a metadata filter option instead of just the blacklist, whitelist. There you go. So, as far as I'm concerned, when you have better tier stuff, there's never a reason not to use the best you have available. But I also am not particularly concerned with it. Now, we want this biomass to be turned into ethanol. To make ethanol from biomass, we need to make use of either a forestry still, 10 millibuckets of biomass becomes 3 millibuckets of ethanol over time, or the fractioning still from thermal expansion, which I'm pretty sure this is the superior option. It's going to use just as much power, and it's going to have the same ratio, but it's going to do it faster. Now, we need reception coils, Constantin, machine frames. We've got everything we need to make a fractioning still, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Awesome. I wasn't sure that we had everything we needed for it. Let me just grab a bit of Constantin. I really need a better storage solution, but we're going to work on that, because next after this, we're going to get our mob farm going once we have our power generation happening. Fractioning still. All right, need 2 of these, need 1 of the. Inventory is too full. Oh, dear. Let me do a bit, inventory management. There, that's better. 1 redstone reception coil, 1 machine frame, which needs a tin gear first. And a nickel gear. Oop, I don't have any nickel. It's always something. This is why I've got the wall of resources. If I can figure out a way to connect a laser relay to a bag in my inventory, I will be so happy. I don't know if that's actually an option, though. And if it were, that would be so, amazing. Let me know if that's actually a thing that I could do, because the more I think about it, the more tempted I am by this sort of idea. How are we going to do this? We're going to use servoed fluid ducts to transfer our liquids, and still got to replace these cables. It's on the list. I've got so many cool things that I want to do. It's just they all take time. All right, 1 flat fractioning still. Poof, lots of power, good. And fluid ducts with hardened servos. Let's see. Yep, this should work just fine. Disable. You need to have the proper configuration. Biomass going in the back. And it's being processed into our ethanol at a pretty decent rate. 20 RF per tick for Industrial Craft 2 biomass into Industrial Craft 2 biogas. Yeah, that's not happening. Where was it? There we go. 20 RF per tick for 3000 RF gets us 150 ticks to produce 30 millibuckets of ethanol. I don't know how fast one of these biogenerators can produce. Basically, I think that my approach is going to be, we're going to set up our biogenerators in a line here. And we're going to just be exporting our ethanol into them. And I think I can do so just like that. Yep. And we're going to see if we can keep ahead of our ethanol consumption with the 1. $240 something. So 1 still is slowly being drained by 1 biogenerator. Well, that's less than ideal. Okay, so I'm doing a bit of math at this, and I think that what I want to do is I want to make sure that I can fill the EU thing over there in what would be a reasonable amount of time without chunk loading. That would make me happy. We need 30 million EU, and running on ethanol, one of these biogenerators produces 16 EU per tick. There's 20 ticks at a second, assuming that the server doesn't screw up on me, which means that's going to take 93,750 seconds, which, let me grab my calculator here. I don't think I can share that on the screen, though. I haven't figured that out. I'm not that cool. Which comes out to about 26 hours. That's not acceptable. to get that 26 hours down to something that is acceptable, I'm going to need like 20 of these generators, because that'll get it down to, well, if I want to get it down to 1 hour, I want to feed 26 of these biogenerators with ethanol. To do that, they seem to, according to the wiki, consume, hang on, they produce 16 EU per tick, and they do that out of 1,000 millibuckets, which means that they consume half a millibucket per tick, which means that I need to be able to, basically, with 26 of them, I need to produce 13 millibuckets per tick. The fractioning still, when converting forestry biomass into forestry ethanol, needs 3,000 RF, and does so at a rate of 20 RF per tick, giving us 150 ticks to make 30 millibuckets. We need more fractioning stills, and we need to upgrade them if we're going to get this done in any sort of reasonable amount of time. And yes, this is all going way overboard. That's also kind of a theme that I do. No kill like overkill, right? So, here's what's going to happen. First off, is it frame? No. Is it machine? No. At thermal. Looking for a bunch of arrows. Here we go. Conversion kits. We can't make the reinforced without silver, and we can't make the signalum also without silver. The resonant requires inderium, as we discussed. Fully upgrade a block to a given tier. Incrementally upgrades a block. Okay, so the upgrade kit and the conversion kit are the two types. What we can do, though, is we can make plenty of hardened upgrade kits, and those will help out quite a bit. I needed bronze. That is actually an alloy that I should set up to have infinite of. I'll put that on my to-do list and do it off camera. So we're going to go ahead and just make 6 of these right off the bat. Invar, redstone, there we go. Once we upgrade it just the once, it's already using up to 30 RF, which cuts our time down from 150 ticks to 100 ticks. Just running the numbers real quick to make sure that I'm certain of that. Yes. So 100 ticks to produce 30 millibuckets. I believe that we can upgrade that further using thermal augments. And let's see. Auxiliary reception coil increases processing speed, but uses more energy per operation. Well, we're not doing this as a way to generate excess energy through burning the ethanol for RF, are we? But before I do that, let me see if there's one that is specific to the fractioning still. Pulverizer, sawmill, smelter, phytogenic, compactor, magma crucible, fractioning still. Only fossil fuels can be processed. Greatly increases conversion efficiency for fossil fuels. Okay. Fractioning still. Potions can be refined, but only potions can be processed. That's interesting. And that looks like our fractioning still potential specializations. So, yeah, that's it. Which means that we're left with our just machine upgrades, which the auxiliary reception coil to increase our production speed is really the only one that matters to us. So let's go ahead and make one of them and take a look at what it does to our processing. It can now use up to 60 RF per tick, but it's also I don't know exactly what effect this has had on how much energy each operation has required, unfortunately. That doesn't seem to be giving me a good info. And I don't seem to have a great way of checking. Huh, let me look into this a little bit more. Okay, so it's actually pretty simple. It doubles the speed and also doubles the power consumption. So this is this now costs me just that much more RF per tick, but it is producing twice as fast, and that cuts our time down to 50 ticks for 30 millibuckets, which 30 millibuckets per in 50 ticks. 30. Sorry for the black screen. That happens every time I hit numpad 5. I really should change that to like alt control numpad 5 or something. That gets us 0.6 millibuckets a tick, which will fully fuel one biogenerator. And as you can see, we have a very large surplus in our biomass. So I'm going to set up a handful of these fractioning stills, actually, and a bunch of biogenerators and try using all of that for our EU production. And we may come back to this, actually. If I can't get this going in what seems like a reasonable manner, we're going to come back to this after I have... Ooh, you know what? We can't force you out the front, so we're going to turn you. I thought I could turn these with, like, right-clicking them. That doesn't seem easily possible. We're going to set these facing that way, and then in the side will come the blue, and out the right will go the red. And life will be good. Excellent. Yeah, that works out. I'm going to set up a handful of these fractioning stills and a handful of biogenerators, and we're going to see how well it does. Alright, we've got the bones of it, but we are now outpacing our 2 max-size vanilla farms with the AA farmer, as we can't produce enough plant balls to keep the fermenter running. And that's with my excess wheat and seeds being turned into plant balls as well. So, I think that we are about out of luck as far as producing enough biomass goes with what we currently have available to us. We're just going to leave this here for now, and we'll come back to it. Right now, it's time to get a mob farm going, and once we have that mob farm going, it's actually going to be a lot easier for us to support the kind of biomass production that I'm attempting to do, and you'll see how. So for the mob farm, we're going to be making use of a mod known as Mob Grinding Utilities. And the thing that I want to build with it for it would be the Mob Masher, but that requires diamonds, and we're not quite there yet. We'll be there after Tuesday. However, we can get the initial start of it built right now, and we can do so by having the mobs pushed by fans onto iron spikes. I'm going to get a bunch of both of these together, and I'm going to grab my... a bit of my cursed earth, which I still have plenty of, and a bunch of dirt and some... we'll build it out of stone brick, I think. And then I will meet you where we're going to be building the mob farm, which is going to be over near the other farms. I think we'll actually do it, like, right in here. That'll be cool. Alright, the basic idea here is going to be to use the mob fans. Ooh, you know what? I never actually built one of those. Hang on. I used all my stone making brick too. Serious professional prepared YouTuber who knows exactly what they're doing. I'll keep telling that lie until somebody believes it. The general idea is to use the mob fans to push monsters off of the will be a cursed earth platform onto a bunch of spikes, which we're going to be putting down right here. And then we're going to be gathering the drops from those mobs as soon as we have some ender pearls to make ourselves what is called a absorption hopper. You may recognize that as basically the vacuum hopper of, I believe it was Open Block's fame from way back in the day. And yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. It even collects experience. And because we are making use of these iron spikes, monsters are going to be dropping experience. So, hooray. Let me just... I'm not 100% certain what the range on the fan is by default. 3, 4, 5... We're going to be putting our cursed earth there. Huh. This takes upgrades. But it only seems to be... pushes mobs in the facing direction. You know what? I better double check this. Right, there we are. The mob fan wanted an activated redstone signal, and it's actually quite strong. Like, even running, I can't quite beat the fan. However, it's also exactly 1 block wide. Now, you've got options. You can increase the width up to a max of 3, which won't be quite enough. Let me see. What are these upgrades? Oh, that wants feathers. Yeah, that's not happening. So we're going to be making a bunch of the mob fans instead, because that's going to end up cheaper in the long run, or at least easier for us than feathers. And it also wants, it only pushes 7 spaces, and the distance upgrade also wants feathers, which we don't have access to just yet. Because I've noticed that, for example, if I put that mob fan back down, it puts me about... It will push me off of that block. It puts me about here, which means that until I can get my hands on a significant number of feathers, we are very limited to putting them about here. And we'll have access to a significant number of feathers soon, but I need diamond for that. And if we need to, we can expand the mob farm after that point. However, I don't think it's going to be needed because we have access to cursed earth. So, if we put down... You know what? I think we can do another line of dirt and then a line of spikes. Do the spikes damage players? Yes, they do. Quite a lot, actually. And yeah, as you can see, the fan is happily pushing me to here. But if all of the mobs are getting pushed into that little area, then any extras are going to push the push more off of the edge, and it's going to end up working out just fine. So we're going to push to there for this. And actually, for the time being, we're going to leave out this line of blocks, because until I have some ender pearls, which we're going to build this thing to be able to spawn for us, I'm going to need to collect all of this by hand. There's other options available to me right now, but I want to use the absorption hopper. So let me get all of this put together, and I'll be back once that's done. All right, I spent the better part of an hour trying to get the fans plus spikes to work out for me, and honestly, it's possible, but it's so much of a hassle that at this stage of the game, it's really not worth it. It would have taken me a lot more trial and error, and I'm done. I can't take it anymore. I am very frustrated with mob grinding utilities and attempting to make use of the fans and the spikes. The primary issue that I was running into was Endermen teleporting out as soon as they took any damage. So, we're going to be using the Mob Crusher from Industrial Foregoing instead, which works a lot like the MFR Mob Grinder. And if we... There we go. Show the working area, we can see that it defaults to a 1, 2, 3, what is it at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 7 area in front of it already. If we want to increase that, we have the option of doing so using range add-ons. And I'm just going to go ahead and use the best range add-on that I can get my hands on right now, which is the range add-on number 8. Grab you. I've got another quartz on hand. Good. Also, after a lot more issues with the Tiny Progressions Big Pouch, I have to recommend that you not use it until a fix of some sort comes out. Where does the add-on go? Do I right-click the machine with it? Do I shift right-click with it? I can't shift-click it in. I'm not entirely certain how to add this add-on onto this machine. Does it need each individual range add-on? That doesn't make sense because there's a ton of them. Hang on. Does it not accept upgrades? It doesn't accept range upgrades. So it's just going to be that 7x7 and there ain't nothing I can do about it. Okie dokie. That's fine. A little bit frustrated at this point, folks, so apologies for the twitchiness. Alright. We are running low on Cursed Earth after the last experiment. So we need to be careful about how we use what's left. And you know what? We're going to move this guy right like that. Right like that. There we go. So that we can easily... It's a different color this time. Weird. So we can easily put our grass underneath. And pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to encase this whole thing in stone brick once we've got it all set up. Don't forget to make liberal use of your builder's wand to make life a bit easier with the building. What I'm saying is don't be like me, kids. Try not to starve along the way, would you? And one bit of Cursed Earth. Apply, since I haven't actually been able to show this properly, apply a bit of water from your extra utilities watering can. Poof. Oh, make sure you don't do that at night the way I just did, because Cursed Earth spawning respects daylight, but does not respect player proximity. So now, we just need to make sure that we enclose this with stone. And you know what? I'm going to do it like this. Because the builder's wand will happily build the full face, but it will not build up or down. So you got to be careful with that. And once we get this all enclosed, we should be able to just add some storage and call it good. And I really wanted to avoid using this just because, one, I've done it a lot with the old industrial option, MFR. That's the name of it. And two, it's probably what everyone else is doing too. I know that Finn and Belgabor are. So it's going to lead to less diversity. But when it's just the best option, then it's just the best option. And honestly, that's something that's going to happen a lot with industrial foregoing. Magic blocks make life simple. And sometimes simplicity is really what you're after. You don't want to put a ton of time and energy into a complicated build unless you have to. Sometimes it can be fun, but this time it just got more frustrating than fun, and that's no good for anyone. And I want to get up here long enough to put down a layer of bottom half slabs. Yep, out of slabs. Fix that real quick. Here we go. Well, guess I'm digging my way out because I'm terrible at this game. Yep, things are spawning. Run. And the grinder is beginning to grind. We will be getting Fluid Essence, which is a liquid experience that we will be able to do many interesting things with, as well as all of our various mob drops. And once we start getting some Ender Pearls out of that, I'm going to be crafting myself a replacement for that pouch, because boy do I want to have a mobile inventory on hand. Boop. There you go. Excellent. Simple as that. And if we find that we're not getting spawns as quickly as we want out of this, we can easily add on more grinders that will each cover a 7x7 area of Cursed Earth. However, I don't anticipate that being an issue. Oh, there's our first ender pearl. Fantastic. Now, because I want to make sure that I keep light out of there, we are going to supply our power from the bottom, and we're going to pipe out from that side. And I think that I'm just going to use an item interface and pipe everything over into my tall system, because I can. And honestly, that's the most fun thing that I've had so far with this pack, has been setting up the Actually Editions laser plus... so like between the Actually Editions laser, thermal expansion item ducts and servos, and storage drawers, it ends up being one heck of a storage system, and I'm pretty happy with it. I really need to add more overlays. I know I keep saying that, but I don't see my item ducts because I'm terrible like that. And I honestly may have left them in a different box. There they are. Yeah, I didn't see them because they weren't there. That makes a certain amount of sense, doesn't it? Alright, so we go ahead and turn you on and have you start exporting everything. I'm going to need to have the bows disposed of. We can do that pretty easily, though. For the time being, we're just going to get the lasers going and call it good for now. Why can I never find anything without highlights? It's terrible. How did I ever function in vanilla Minecraft? Oh, in vanilla Minecraft, you never had to deal with this many things all at once. You just never had this much stuff cluttering up your various inventories. Anyway, I'm going to get this hooked up, and then we're going to be on to the next set of base tours, and then we're going to be on to handing in the latest item, which I'm going to have to get prepared next episode, which is the shock absorber. We still need to build an empowerer and all kinds of stuff. Thanks very much for joining me. Hope you've enjoyed today's episode. If so, please leave me a thumbs up and tell me what you liked. If not, leave me a thumbs down and tell me what you didn't. Between now and next time, I'm definitely going to be installing more overlays so that I can quickly search for things, because I'm apparently hopeless and helpless without it. And next time is going to be the base tours. If you want to keep getting this series into your inbox, please click subscribe and consider clicking that bell to get notifications for every video I put out. See you next time.